Right, okay, folks, welcome to another 8-bit. In fact, this is an 8 and 16-bit face-off kerfuffle. This game we're going to look at today is Beyond the Ice Palace. This was released by Elite Systems. When was it? 1988. Yeah, and I do remember playing this. This came out just at the point I had actually moved from a Commodore 64 to the Atari ST. It was released on the Amiga, Amstrad, Atari ST, C64, and Spectrum. And it's a 2D scrolling platformer. It's played across 3 levels, and it's kind of got some similarities to Ghouls and Ghosts. But anyway, let's take a wee look at some of the versions. Okay, kicking things off, we're going to look at the Amstrad one. Some nice music. Alright, let's get going. Now, I think this is the first time I've played this. Probably since 1988. I don't think I've ever played it in a live stream. Now, first impressions. Wow, look at the graphics. Now, I've always said that about the Amstrad. It is a very, very capable machine, and when it's in the right hands, it blows, in my opinion, and it can blow any other 8-bit version away. It really can. I mean, look at the detail, look at the vibrancy, the colour, it's just beautiful. I do like the little kind of Defender-esque explosions, they're lovely. Now, I don't know if you can get music in this. There's a nice little track at the start. I don't know whether you can actually pick sound effects or music. If I'm forced to pick one, I'll always go for sound effects. Although it's always nice to have both if possible. But yeah, sprites are extremely well drawn. And it's bastard hard, which you expect. I'm always aware that because Amstrad begins with A, it's generally the first version that I play when I do any of these, and I'm usually the worst at it because I've not had a chance to really play it. By the time I get to like the Spectrum, I'm generally a wee bit better because I kind of know what I'm doing. I've got to say, yeah, pretty impressed with this. That is nice. That is the Amstrad. Let's crack on. Right, next one, Commodore Amiga. Also, the music is a bit higher quality. Right, now graphics are obviously going to be a bit more detailed, and it does play that bit quicker. You know, I don't remember this game looking as good as it does. I've got this overwhelming memory of playing this on the ST and being a bit disappointed. I think possibly because when I'd gone from 8-bit to 16-bit computers, I'm wanting 3D. I'm wanting games that can't be done on 8-bit, and I think because this does resemble an 8-bit machine, possibly that's why when I think back to, back in the day, I was disappointed with this. But I mean, looking at it now, it's a beautifully done game. Really nice, kind of hand-drawn sprites. Yeah, if there was a spiritual successor, no pun intended by the way, if there was a spiritual successor to Ghosts and Goblins, this would kinda be it. Obviously the knight has shed his armour and grown some lovely flowing hair, big mullet. Now this is kinda what the original Barbarian by Psygnosis should have been. It should have been a platformer game like this where you ran about using a joystick. That would have been really nice, but we all know what happened to that. They decided to make it mouse control. Yeah, who thought of that? Bollocks. There we go. That's Amiga one. Let's crack on. Right, next one. C64. Using a joystick. It always surprises me why they'd even give that option. Did anybody not play games with a joystick in the C64? Maybe there was. I know some people do prefer that. Right, okay, yeah, nice sound. Nice graphics. Maybe not slightly as well defined as the Amiga or the Amstrad one. A nice wee change to the music. The first two were kind of a bit repetitive. I mean, it's absolutely fine, but I do like the fact that they've kind of, it's a longer tune. Now these wee guys look like they've got blue shell suits on. These birds look like they've been lifted straight out of Phoenix. And if you're under a certain age, you're probably wondering what the hell's he talking about. Phoenix? What the bloody hell's that you're saying? Go and Google it. Or ask your dad. Or if you're even younger, ask your granddad, he'll tell you. Well, they all play very, very similar. There's not a lot to really choose in sort of playability, I wouldn't think. Now, I think weapons seem to be slightly more readily available in this version. Oh, bollocks. That came over? It certainly is. Right, that's the C64 one. Let's crack on. Right, now this is the one that I do remember playing. Like I said, I just sold my C64. In fact, I think it was 1987. Yeah, tail end of 1987. I sold my C64. Got an Atari ST, and this was one of the first games that I got. Now, as you would expect, there's really not a great deal of difference graphically between this and the Amiga. Maybe slightly more colours in the Amiga one, I think. Obviously, you're going to get a bit more detail with the sort of higher resolution. Yeah, despite this being my 4th attempt, I'm still pish. Yeah, it's certainly, like I said, it's a lot more fun to play, and it looks better than I remember it. But like I said, I think it was down to the fact that back then I was wanting 3D games. You know, I was wanting something that you couldn't do in an 8-bit machine, and this quite clearly could be done in an 8-bit machine. So it didn't really give you the sort of wow factor. You know, comparing this version to any 8-bit version that we've looked at. It's slightly better graphics, not massively so. Now it's interesting, I've managed to get further in both 16-bit versions, so I don't know whether that would say it's a bit easier to play. Not quite sure. I think because it runs that wee bit quicker, oh damn it just makes it that slightly more playable. Oh, come on, you twat. I get frustrated at myself. I can't even imagine how frustrated people must be when they watch my videos, when they see how easily I die. But that's what comes when you're 2 years off 60. Right, come on, don't fuck it up this time. Oh, come on, where is it? Oh, arse biscuits. That's game over. It is. Right, anyway, yeah, that's Atari ST. Let's take a look at the final version. Right, let's take a look at this one. This is the ZX Spectrum one. Yes, press fire on your joystick. Okay. You know what? I've not actually summoned a spirit. I don't think I actually knew you could do that back in the day, but that was the problem with playing copied games. Right, plays at a more kind of sedate pace. Obviously, it lacks the sort of detail. The colour isn't what it is like it is on other machines, but that's to be expected, obviously. But one thing I always like about the Spectrum games is they've always got a. I think it does have a slightly higher resolution than certainly the C64, and you know the graphics always look really detailed. Yeah, definitely plays a wee bit slower. Sound's not bad, you know, for a Spectrum, the sound ain't half bad. cat's head? Where the hell did that come from? Damn it. Anyway, let's do a little summary. Yeah, we've played, let me think, the first one we looked at, the Amstrad. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful graphics. Really, really bright, vibrant, more detailed. Colour is much better than well, not a lot better than the C64, but it just looks really nice. Obviously, much nicer looking than the Spectrum one. Plays totally fine. C64 one, delightful to look at. Plays well, quite fast to play. It does have some nice music, definitely. The Amiga one looks beautiful. It's got some really good sound. It's fast. Atari ST one, there's not a massive difference between that and the Amiga, which you would expect. I would imagine that they just ported the ST one to the Amiga and maybe changed the colours slightly. The sound, music, not quite as good as Amiga, but nothing wrong with it. And lastly, the Spectrum one, I mean, absolutely nothing wrong with it. You know, this is exactly what I would expect it to be. It is slightly slower to play than the other versions, but you know what? There's not a bad version. I would say play any of them. You know, if you're a C64 guy, play the C64 one. If I was really going to tell you to play one, I would probably tell you to play the Amiga one. But if you want the one that looks the most impressive, and I think kind of looks the nicest, I would go for the Amstrad one. But like I says, there's no poor version. So nice wee game. Like I say, it's a game that I don't remember much about it back in the day, other than being a bit disappointed when I first got it from Atari ST. But anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you very much for watching.